Hello friends, and today we're going to be going out sketching, doing some plein sketching. This is the kit I normally take with me. It's a great little travel pack. It fits all my brushes, pens, pencils. I have a tiny little palette that I squeeze my colors into, my water cup and my A4 sketchbook. More or less the brushes. I've got some flats, I've got some mop brushes, some synthetics, and my calligraphy pens, a dip pen. So whatever I normally feel like using on the day, and not forgetting my trusty fold-up chair to sit on. This is down the road from where I live in Cape Town. It's called Kalk Bay Harbour, and we went early last week in the morning with some lovely fog still hanging around. And I decided to do a pencil sketch. It's a water-soluble pen that gave me quite a nice wash effect as well, and maybe the right type of thing for the day. But then the fishing boats started coming back with their catch of the day, which they display on these large tables, and then the man in the street can come along and buy whatever he might like. I did this rough drawing on in my Hahnemühle brown paper sketchbook, and this sketchbook has quite thin paper. It's about 100 grams, so it's not ideal for watercolor, but I am using a bit of gouache with my watercolor. So I have only one tube of white gouache that I mix with the rest of my colors, whatever I might decide to use. And in this case, I have added to a little bit of Payne's gray, just to give that sort of bluey gray color to the fish. As I said, the drawing was done without any pencil work. I went straight in with my calligraphy pen, which is a waterproof pen. It's actually a great, I've got a size 1, 2 and 3. And if you want to actually know more about my detailed kit, I will add a link at the end of this video. And I have done a whole separate YouTube video on what I take for plein sketching. And it just shows everything in a lot more detail, and you can have a look at that. But so yes, so I've added some of my white to the Payne's gray, giving me this lovely gray color, and then just starting with the eyes and coming back to the face of the fish. This is a snook, which is very typical of the sort of cold water area of the Cape that we live in. And the little scrunched up things in the middle, this is the ice that they had put on top of the fish to keep it fresh for when the customers come and buy. Now these fish came in probably mid-morning, and by the time I left around lunchtime, most of them were still there. So I'm guessing that most of their customers come after lunch to buy the fish for the week. And they have a lot of customers that would come and deliver to the local sort of fish and chip shops, that deliver to the restaurants. In this Cape area here, you will always only get fresh fish. I have never been served fish from a freezer anywhere in a restaurant or a takeaway place. So it's always nice and fresh. Where the gills are, of course, you're going to see a little bit red of the type of blood. So I've added some alizarin crimson to some of the Payne's gray to give that sort of really dark look, and it's just starting to bleed a little bit into the white there, but that's fine. And then if I put a bit of this white gouache around the fish, it makes them stand out a lot more. And in fact, this is exactly what it was. The table was white, not that that matters, because you can do it in any color you want. But in this case, it worked really well. And as I say, this paper is the Hahnemühle one, and it does tend to sort of buckle a little bit when you add water, which is why you can't really do wet on wet washes with it. So it is very much something that you use a slightly thicker medium like gouache is absolutely ideal, and for sketches as well. So some details around the eye, the black with the white highlight, and just adding in some extra things around just to make them stand out one from the other. Some details in the gills. And I must say that the sketch itself I did at the harbour, the plein air sketching, but this video recording I have done at home. So the actual paint work itself I did at home, but could quite easily have done at the harbour, plein air. But in this case, I had actually forgotten my watercolors at home and spent a whole day just sketching. So the first picture that I showed you, the pencil sketch of the harbour, was also no watercolor, just a pencil. This was just line drawings, and that's what I concentrated the day on. So even if you forget something like your paints at home, you can still keep busy with whatever you have with you. Bit of a shadow at the bottom, and then basically it is done. Next, there's some gorgeous fishing boats wherever you look, and I did this actually a few weeks ago. These fishing boats, same on Hahnemühle paper. This one doesn't have the ring in the middle, but just a little bit of variety. And a few days ago, I went back to the harbour. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I did this tiny, like, little tugboat type of fishing boat, very small little boat. That I did plein air on the spot with the gouache mixed with the paints as well, and I did that at the harbour. And once I came home, I just added in some of the pen work. So this is now in my studio at home, just adding a few details of pen work just to give it that little bit more of an oomph and let it stand out. And as you can see, the sea is unfinished. There's another boat next to this one, and I will just do the same as I did in my previous boat painting. Is the second boat, I just do a bit of a line drawing, because I don't want the eye of the viewer to be attracted to the second boat that is not sort of my focal point. This is my focal point. This is what I'll concentrate on, and so the second boat won't get much detail at all. It is quite tricky to draw on a double page like this if it has got the rings in the middle. It does tend to move around, but I think it gives it a extra atmosphere. Well, not atmosphere, it's just a character. It gives extra character to my sketchbook, having done it over the 2 pages. So the line drawing here on the second boat, not much detail at all, and in fact I'm not going to be putting any color into this one. Just going to leave it as is. Of course, this boat I did do in pencil first. I find boats quite challenging to draw, and really should be going back week after week, seeing that it's so close, this gorgeous little harbour, and I should be practicing more. Boats really are tricky just to get the angle. I found that my little boat turned out quite chubby and chunky, but I like the look of it. It feels like it's got character. It could almost be in one of these little animated boats in a movie or something like that. So just a rough finish at the end, showing where the waterline is and the skyline. And as I say, keeping the other boat, just absolutely no detail in it whatsoever. Some more fish came in, and these look like a type of snapper, and I just love the color of it, and that sort of design of them all tied together. I actually feel quite sorry for the poor fish. I'm not a big fish eater, so but they, I mean, the colors were beautiful, and as an artist, that's what you look at, the design, and you look at the colors, and then you decide how and what you're going to paint. And again, this type of brown paper just calls for a different type of technique, if you like, because you can't wet the page first. It won't run on the page like it does normal watercolor paper. So you pretty much have to mix your colors in your palette and then apply it. Again, you can see the gouache, the white gouache, squeezed onto my palette, and then I use that to mix in with my colors. I have used the Daniel Smith pink or opera, whatever it's called, so I'll put the link down below, exactly of the color. And I have added a bit of lemon yellow to it as well, so to give this sort of warm pinky color, and then with a bit of white, and then coming in with the white highlights of the fish, trying to let the sort of pinky stripe in the tail and head and along the side of the body, let that stand out. And then seeing that I needed to add a little bit more color, I have just done a slightly stronger color of the lemon yellow and the pink, and this sort of brings the color of the fish out a lot more. Again, this sketch was done just freehand without any prior drawing. Of course, you can draw in advance with your pencil just to make sure you've got the design you want, or the sort of shapes, but as you can see, the fish are not perfect. They some are better than others, but it's just the overall thing that you're looking for, and it's something in your sketchbook. It's something it's good to practice, of course, all the time, and sometimes they're going to come out and sometimes they're not going to come out, and you learn for the next time. And deciding that I needed something for them to lay on, it's almost like a surface, so that they don't get the feeling that they're floating in the air, I have added this darker color, and just to give it that little bit of a base. And I see I've forgotten to paint the one little fish in the middle, so that one has to be done. Just a few little details now in the eye, making them darker, and then adding some white to the edges just to let them stand out. Some more, and that's basically it. So as I say, with the gouache, it dries pretty quickly, and again, this one was done plein air at the harbour with just the actual painting done in the studio. And of course, in the harbour, there's all kinds of things happening. So we have lovely Cape fur seals that wait for that little tidbit of fish to be thrown back in the water from the fishermen. So they tend to hang around, and they do have beautiful attics that they all about. They lie on the steps of the harbour wall, and it's just wonderful to see what they're up to. Isn't that just gorgeous? I just love watching them. And then finally, the 3 paintings that I've done in this video is the snook, and the red of the snappers, and then the little tug. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Till next time.